Welcome to Death Valley National Park, one of the hottest, driest, and most dramatic landscapes on Earth. In just 2 days, we set out to explore some of its most iconic and surreal spots. We start high above the valley at Dante's View. I then catch the first light at Zabriskie Point. The colors come alive at Artist Palette, and the desert trail calls us into Golden Canyon. We hear the eerie silence at Devil's Golf Course, then stand at the lowest point in North America, Badwater Basin. From the rolling Mesquite Sand Dunes to the explosive crater of Ubehebe, we push further. We started our journey at Dante's View, perched high above the valley. It was stunning, but incredibly windy and cold. We didn't stay long, just enough to take in the epic view, then quickly made our way to the next stop. Zabriskie Point, one of the most iconic views in Death Valley. As the sun rose, it lit up the golden Badlands in every direction, layers of earth shaped by time, erosion, and ancient waters. We stood in awe, watching the shadows dance across the rippled landscape. But we didn't stop at the viewpoint. We laced up our boots and hit the trail for a short loop hike. Down into the maze of canyons and gullies, we walked between sculpted walls of sediment, following the curves of the land. Up close, the texture and colors were even more surreal. Pale yellows, soft pinks, deep browns. It felt like walking on another planet. The quiet was absolute, broken only by our footsteps and the occasional gust of wind. Zabriskie wasn't just a stop. It was an experience, a place to slow down and really feel the desert. After soaking in the views at Zabriskie Point and hiking through those golden Badlands, we hit the road again, winding through the desert landscape. Can you guess what's next? It's one of the most colorful spots in Death Valley, like a painter spilled their palette right on the hillside. Yep. Huh. Next stop, Artist Palette. As we drove along the scenic loop, the hills suddenly burst into view, streaked with colors you wouldn't expect to see in a desert. Pinks, greens, yellows, purples, all swirling together like brushstrokes on a massive canvas. The colors are caused by volcanic minerals reacting to oxidation over time, but standing there, it feels like magic. We couldn't just admire it from the car. We had to get closer. So we set off on a short hike into the hills, winding through narrow gullies and over soft mineral-rich soil. The ground changed color beneath our feet, green one moment, then red, then beige. It was like walking through a dream or a forgotten corner of Mars. No crowds, no noise, just us, surrounded by silence and surreal beauty. Every turn revealed a new mix of color and texture, each more unreal than the last. It's the kind of place that makes you slow down, take a deep breath, and try to soak it all in. We could have stayed there for hours, but the desert had more secrets to share. As we continued our Death Valley adventure, the next stop was a bit more challenging, the Golden Canyon Loop Trail. Before hitting the trail, we found a shaded spot, took a break, and had a quick lunch. With miles ahead of us and the sun high in the sky, we knew we'd need the energy. The Golden Canyon Trail is one of the most famous hikes in the park, a loop that's about 6 miles long, weaving through narrow canyons, colorful rock formations, and the rugged beauty that defines Death Valley. This trail isn't just a walk, It's a journey through time. Millions of years ago, this whole area was covered by an ancient lake. Over time, water, wind, and heat sculpted the land into the dramatic shapes we see today. The hike starts off with towering golden walls rising up around you. The canyon almost glows in the sunlight, which is where it gets its name. As we made our way in, the path began to twist and narrow. It felt like we were walking through a natural maze, with every turn revealing a new formation or texture in the rock. Some of the rock walls were smooth, some jagged, all of them impossibly tall. We couldn't help but stop and just stare. It felt like being inside a painting made by the earth itself. About halfway through the loop, there's an option to hike up to Red Cathedral, a dramatic outcropping of deep red rock that towers above the canyon floor. It's a bit of a scramble, but the view is totally worth it. We took our time, drinking water, taking photos, and just soaking in the silence. It's the kind of place where you really feel small, in the best way possible. Even with the heat, the 6 miles didn't feel long. Every step had something new to see, and the golden light made it all feel like a dream. By the time we finished the loop and circled back to the parking area, we were dusty, tired, and completely in awe. Golden Canyon was one of the highlights of our Death Valley trip, a reminder that some of the most beautiful places take a little effort to reach. And trust us, this one was worth every step. Our next stop took us into one of the strangest and most rugged parts of Death Valley, Devil's Golf Course. A vast field of jagged salt formations stretching as far as the eye can see, it looks like another world. The name? Well, as they say, only the devil could play golf on this surface. We spent a few minutes wandering carefully between the sharp formations, taking photos and marveling at the textures. And yes, of course, we had to do the classic test, give the salt a little taste. It's real, it's ancient, and yes, it's very salty. From there, we continued to what would be our final stop of the day, Badwater Basin. At 282 feet below sea level, it's the lowest point in North America. Standing there, you're literally at the bottom of the continent. The salt flats stretched out in every direction, pure white and glowing under the late afternoon sun. We walked out a bit onto the flats, watching how the ground formed endless hexagon patterns under our feet, like nature's own design. There's a strange peace in that vast emptiness. No trees, no sound, just wind, salt, and sky. It was the perfect place to end our first day, quiet, humbling. Day 2 of our Death Valley expedition began with the classic Mesquite Flat Sand Dunes. As the sun started to rise, the dunes lit up in soft golds and deep shadows. It was quiet, peaceful, and wide open. Most people stick close to the parking area for a few photos, but we wanted more. So we decided to go deeper, walking further inland, away from the crowds, chasing the bigger dunes. With every step, the sand pulled at our feet, soft and warm beneath us. The landscape shifted constantly. Dunes, we thought, were close, turned out to be much farther than they seemed. It felt like walking through a dream. Just ridges and curves of sand stretching endlessly with no trails, no signs. Just the wind carving new shapes as we moved. We eventually found one of the tallest dunes in the field and decided to climb it. Not easy. Every step up felt like 2 steps back. But the view from the top, worth it. Rolling waves of golden sand in every direction. In the distance, mountains framed the horizon, and for a moment, it felt like we were the only people in the world. Then, we tried something a little different. Sledding. Yep, we brought a sled. It didn't exactly glide like it does on snow. Now, a bit about this amazing place.
The Mesquite Flat Sand Dunes are the most accessible dunes in Death Valley and some of the most photographed. They were formed by winds blowing loose sand into a natural basin, piling it up over time. What's interesting is that despite how hot and dry it gets here, life still finds a way. Mesquite trees, beetles, and even sidewinder snakes live among the dunes. Many movies have filmed scenes here, including Star Wars, and it's easy to see why. It's cinematic, mysterious, and endlessly photogenic. By the time we made our way back to the car, our boots were full of sand, our legs were tired, but our spirits were high. Our second stop of the day took us somewhere dramatic and a bit intimidating, Ubehebe Crater. At first glance, it's jaw-dropping, a massive hole in the earth, half a mile wide and nearly 800 feet deep. The wind at the rim was strong, and the view into the crater's blackened slopes was both beautiful and a little eerie. But just looking from the top wasn't enough. We decided to go all the way down. The trail into the crater is steep, made up of loose volcanic gravel that slides beneath your feet with every step. Going down was fast fun, even a little wild, like walking on the surface of the moon. Once we reached the bottom, it was like entering a different world. The wind was quieter down there. The crater walls rose up around us, towering and steep, painted in shades of black, brown, and orange, remnants of an ancient and violent explosion. Ubehebe Crater was formed about 2,000 years ago by a volcanic eruption, when magma came into contact with groundwater, causing a massive steam explosion that blew this hole wide open. Then came the hard part, climbing back up. Every step forward came with a little slide backward. The slope was relentless and the gravel didn't help. But slowly, breath by breath, we made our way up, stopping often to turn around and take in the view one more time. In the middle of the Nevada desert, just outside the ghost town of Rhyolite, this outdoor art installation feels like stepping into a surreal dream. Giant ghostly figures wrapped in white shrouds, a towering pink pixelated woman, a mosaic couch, and even a steel sculpture of a miner and a penguin. Yes, a penguin. All standing silently in the open desert. It's strange, beautiful, and a little haunting. The museum was started in the 1980s by a group of Belgian artists led by Albert Sukalski, who created the iconic ghost sculptures. They used live models covered in plaster-soaked fabric to create these eerie, life-size forms. There's no admission, no ropes, no rules. Just art, sky, and silence. You can walk among the pieces, feel the texture, and soak in the wild creativity that somehow fits perfectly in the abandoned desert landscape. But that wasn't all we found there. Roaming nearby were a few local residents, wild donkeys, descendants of the ones brought here over a century ago by gold miners. They now live free in the desert, but occasionally wander near towns and roadside stops. And guess who knew exactly what to do? Our expedition chief, Vasily. With total confidence, he reached into the back of the jeep, grabbed some carrots we'd saved from lunch, and showed us how to feed them. Palms flat, no sudden moves. At first we were cautious, but the donkeys were gentle and curious. It turned into one of the most unexpectedly sweet moments of the trip. Surreal art, desert silence, and a handful of friendly donkeys. Goldwell turned out to be more than just a quirky roadside stop. It was a memory we didn't see coming, and one we won't forget.
О, да. Блин, яблоко для них будет просто деликатес.
Just down the road from the Goldwell Museum, we walked into what was once a booming mining town, Rhyolite. Now, it's a ghost town, but over 100 years ago, it was one of the fastest growing settlements in the West. Born during the gold rush in the early 1900s, Rhyolite had banks, hotels, an opera house, a school, even electricity, a real city in the middle of nowhere. But like many boom towns, it rose fast and fell even faster. Within a decade, the gold dried up, the people left, and the desert began to reclaim what was left behind. We wandered through crumbling buildings, weathered walls, and rusting relics of another era. It's quiet now, but if you listen closely, it's not hard to imagine the sound of footsteps on wooden porches, trains rolling in, and the buzz of a town that once believed it would last forever. Rhyolite was the final stop on our second day, the perfect end to a journey through time, nature, and the wild heart of the desert.
Запишите, пожалуйста, мою фамилию.
Just a short walk from the center of Rhyolite, we came across one of the strangest and most fascinating homes in the desert, the Tom Kelly Bottle House. Built in 1906, this house is made from over 50,000 glass bottles, mostly beer and soda bottles collected from local saloons during the gold rush boom. Tom Kelly, a local miner, built it entirely by hand, stacking the bottles with adobe mortar, creating walls that sparkle in the sunlight. It's the oldest and largest bottle house still standing in the U.S., and it's held up for more than a century in this harsh desert environment. Walking around it, we couldn't help but admire the creativity, turning trash into shelter, and something ordinary into something truly unique. Just one more example of how wild and resourceful life was in the Old West. And just like that, our desert adventure comes to a close for today. From towering sand dunes to ghost towns frozen in time, we covered miles, climbed craters, and made memories we won't forget. Time to rest, recharge,